I come from a Pentecostal background. My grandfather had a little storefront church. In fact, it is so cute because my grandfather's church probably never had over 25 members in his church.
Deniece has finally opened up and shared her truth, confirming decades of rumors. Many people have been talking about these for years and wondered if the rumors were true.
I told my mom and I was like, oh, close to tears, and Mom said, don't worry about it.
Why did it take her so long to speak? What did she say that surprised everyone? Fans are excited to hear her side of the story. Will this change how we see her music and career? Let's dive into the details of her story and find out the truth.
And I started in the church choir when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Deniece Williams, originally named June Deniece Chandler, was born in Gary, Indiana. Growing up in Gary, she always dreamed of doing something special with her life. From a very young age, Deniece showed signs of having a gift for music. When she was only 3 years old, her aunt overheard her singing on the front porch and noticed how beautiful her voice sounded. Soon after, Deniece sang a song called "There's a Man Waiting Way Beyond the Clouds" at church. Her performance was well received, and after that, she joined the children's choir. This marked the start of her love for music.
My mom would be in the shower and she'd be singing, and I would try to sing along with her. And then she'd do this little skippy thing. And I say, and so most of what you hear is my mother.
Deniece had a happy childhood filled with friends and school activities. She enjoyed going to school, spending time with her best friend, and learning new things. Family was also very important to her. Deniece spent a lot of time with her grandmother, who played a big role in her life. Her grandmother raised her in a religious home where going to church was a regular part of life. Every Sunday, Deniece and her family went to church, and she also attended choir rehearsals during the week. Music and faith were strong foundations in her early years.
And I started in the church choir when I was 3 years old.
As Deniece grew older, she went on to study at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. She had plans to become a nurse, specifically an anesthetist. However, college life didn't turn out to be what she expected. After a year and a half, Deniece decided to leave school. She once explained, "You have to be a good student to be in college, and I wasn't." Many people can relate to this feeling. Sometimes college just doesn't feel right. Even though Deniece left school, she was still determined to find her own path. Leaving college turned out to be the start of a new journey for Deniece. She began exploring her true passion for music, which opened doors she had never imagined. Her time in college might have been short, but it was a stepping stone that led her to her music career. Deniece's early love for singing, her dedication to her church choir, and the strong values her grandmother taught her all played a part in shaping her future as an artist. Deniece's music career began in the late 1960s, and it all started while she was still a college student. She got a part-time job singing at a club called Casino Royale, and she absolutely loved it. Singing brought her so much joy and made her feel alive. She had to support herself, though, so she also worked at a telephone company and as a ward clerk at Chicago Mercy Hospital. It was not easy to balance these jobs with singing, but Deniece was determined to make it in music. This was just the start of her journey. Deniece's cousin John played a big part in her career. John lived in Detroit and would visit her during the summer. He often talked about meeting famous musicians, and one day he even claimed he knew Stevie Wonder. Deniece laughed at him, thinking he was just telling stories. But John was serious, and he actually helped her get an audition to sing with Stevie Wonder. Deniece wasn't sure about auditioning, but her cousin encouraged her, so she decided to give it a try. To her surprise, she was one of 3 people chosen to sing as a background vocalist for Stevie. This moment changed her life forever. Working with Stevie Wonder felt like a dream come true for Deniece. She looked up to him and loved his music. Touring and performing with him was exciting and inspiring. During this time, Deniece realized that her poetry could be turned into music. She discovered that combining her words with melodies made beautiful songs. Stevie became her mentor, teaching her about music and songwriting. She worked with him for 3.5 years, learning as much as she could. Deniece's voice can be heard on some of Stevie Wonder's most famous albums, like Talking Book, Fulfillingness, First Finale, and Songs in the Key of Life. She also worked with other artists, singing on albums like Sarita Wright's Stevie Wonder presents Sarita, Minnie Riperton's Perfect Angel, and Roberta Flack's Feel Like Making Love, and Blue Lights in the Basement.
That's the time. Feel like making love.
After her time with Stevie, Deniece began working with another talented singer, Roberta Flack. Deniece enjoyed working with Roberta because they each had unique styles. Every day, Roberta would ask her, "What are you going to do?" Deniece would reply with confidence, "I don't know, but it's going to be good." This positive outlook helped her in her music journey. She also admired Johnny Mattis, a music legend she had dreamed of singing with since she was young. She joked with Johnny, saying she had been practicing for years just to sing with him. Deniece got the chance to work with Johnny Mattis on Without Us, the theme song for the popular TV show Family Ties in 1982.
I bet we've been together for a million years.
But one of her biggest successes with Johnny was their duet, Too Much, Too Little, Too Late.
Too much, too little, too late to fly again with you.
This song became a huge hit, reaching #1 on several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. In 1978, they released a duet album called That's What Friends Are For, which was well received. Critics loved their music, and the album did great on the charts. It even went gold in the United States, marking an important milestone in Deniece's career. Another memorable moment for Deniece was working with Minnie Riperton. When Deniece was 16, a neighbor brought her Minnie's album and told her, "You sound like this girl." Deniece loved Minnie's music and often sang along to her songs. Later, she had the chance to sing as a background vocalist on Minnie's project, Perfect Angel. This was a big honor for Deniece, as she admired Minnie's talent.
BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow. It's pretty great.
It is great.
One of Deniece's biggest dreams was to sing with Earth, Wind and Fire, a group she admired while growing up. She loved their song Keep Your Head to the Sky and many others. It was a dream come true when she joined Morris White's production label, which worked with Earth, Wind and Fire. Singing with them was a magical experience for Deniece, who had listened to their music since she was a child. She signed a deal with Columbia Records and a production company called Kalimba, which was founded by Maurice White and Charles Stepney. With their help, Deniece created her first solo album called This Is Deniece, released in 1976. The album was a success, reaching #3 on the R&B chart and #33 on the Billboard 200. It was also certified gold in the United States, meaning it sold a lot of copies. One of the popular songs from the album was Free, which climbed to #1 on the UK singles chart and did well on the Billboard, Hot R&B Songs and Hot 100 charts.
I want to be free, free.
Another song, That's What Friends Are For, also did well, reaching #8 on the UK singles chart.
'Cause after all, that's what friends are for.
Sadly, just before This Is Deniece was released, Charles Stepney passed away. After that, Maurice White took over and produced Deniece's second album, Songbird, released in 1977. This album did well too, reaching #23 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart. Music critics praised it for showcasing Deniece's amazing 4-octave singing range. John Rockwell from the New York Times called Songbird a most appealing album for its variety and skillful singing. One of the songs, Baby Baby My Love's All For You, also became popular, reaching #13 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart. One of her famous songs is a cover of You're All I Need to Get By, originally sung by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. This song became a hit, reaching #5 on the RPM Canadian Adult Contemporary Songs chart, #10 on the US Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart, and #16 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary Songs chart. Her version showcased her incredible voice and ability to connect with the audience.
I come from a Pentecostal background. My grandfather had a little storefront church. In fact, it is so cute because my grandfather's church probably never had over 25 members in his church.
Deniece's journey wasn't always easy. She grew up in a strict Pentecostal background, particularly in the Church of God in Christ. This church had very strong beliefs about music, and they often viewed popular music as the devil's music. This made things difficult for Deniece when she started to pursue her singing career. When Deniece recorded her first local songs, her church community was upset. They felt that by singing these songs, she was going against their teachings. The church leaders decided to take action. They told her that she could no longer sing in the choir or participate in church activities until she stopped making those kinds of music. This decision hurt Deniece deeply. She had been raised in the church and was a part of it for about 17 years. Going to church on Sundays and singing in the choir was all she knew. When they stripped her of her choir membership, it felt like losing a part of herself. She loved singing and being part of the church community, so being pushed away was very painful for her. However, there was one church mother who saw things differently. This kind lady told Deniece that there was nothing wrong with her songs. She explained that Deniece was singing about love, not anything inappropriate. This mother's support meant a lot to Deniece during such a tough time. It showed her that not everyone agreed with the harsh judgment from the church.
I told my mom, and I was like, oh, close to tears, and Mom said, don't worry about it.
Despite this support, Deniece felt the weight of condemnation from the church. They preached a message of fear rather than love. Over time, Deniece learned about God's love and forgiveness, which was a turning point in her life. She discovered that God's message was not just about rules and regulations, but about love and acceptance too. Looking back, Deniece understands that her church was trying to protect her. They worried about her future, especially when she started working with famous musicians like Stevie Wonder. They didn't know if she would be safe or if she might get lost in the music world. Their fear often came from a lack of understanding of God's true message, which is about love and grace. Deniece believes that her home church didn't mean to hurt her. They thought they were looking out for her best interests, but she felt that they focused too much on what she shouldn't do instead of what she could do. They missed the point that God gave her the gift of music to share with the world. Deniece has also had a full personal life with ups and downs just like anyone else. Deniece has been married 3 times and is a mother to 4 sons. Her first marriage was to her middle school sweetheart, Kendrick Williams. They got married in 1971 when she was quite young, and they were together for 4 years. During their marriage, they had 2 sons, Kendrick Jr., who was born in 1972, and Kevin, born in 1973. Even after they divorced in 1975, Deniece kept the last name Williams and used it professionally throughout her career. After her first marriage ended, Deniece moved to California to pursue her music career, and it worked out well for her. She became very successful, with her smooth and beautiful voice making her a popular artist in the 1970s and 1980s. But while her career was rising, her personal life was still complicated.
How difficult was it for you to focus on your music and still have your heart with your children?
Deniece married again. This time, she tied the knot with an actor and minister named Christopher Joy. Their marriage, however, didn't last long. They separated in August 1982, just over a year after getting married, and divorced soon after. Even though it was a short-lived marriage, Deniece kept moving forward, balancing her music career and personal life. Deniece's third marriage came a few years later, in 1986, when she married a man named Brad Westering. During this marriage, Deniece and Brad had 2 more sons together. Their first son, Forrest, was born in 1988, and their second son, Logan, came into the world not long after. Sadly, Deniece and Brad's marriage ended, but she continued to raise her 4 sons while focusing on her music and faith. Throughout her life, Deniece Williams has had to juggle the challenges of being a mother, wife, and successful musician. She has talked about how her faith in God has helped her through tough times. Her strong belief in her faith has always been a big part of her life, and she often sings about her love for God in her music. One of her most memorable songs is Silly, which came from a very personal place. Deniece was going through a rough time. She was in a relationship that wasn't working out, and it broke her heart. One night, around 3 a.m., she was crying and feeling all kinds of emotions. In the middle of this, the idea for Silly came to her.
Stop making a fool of me.
The words "silly of me" kept popping into her head, and she knew she had to write a song about it. Even though it was late, she called her co-writer and said, "Turn on the recorder. I need to get this down before I forget it." At first, Deniece wasn't sure if the song would ever be part of a project, but she felt like she had to get it out of her system. So she and her co-writer worked on it, and Silly was born out of her experience of loving someone who wasn't treating her right. The song became a big hit, reaching number 11 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart, and is still loved by many people today. Deniece has also had success with other songs, like the upbeat hit "Let's Hear It for the Boy," but getting that song recorded was a bit of a challenge. She was in the studio with legendary producer George Duke, and they got a call about a song for a movie soundtrack. Deniece wanted to do it because it was a fun, up-tempo song, but George wasn't interested. He didn't think it fit her style since she was known for ballads.
Let's hear it from the boy.
Deniece didn't give up. She knew the song would be a hit, so she went to George's wife, Corinne, for help. She told Corinne, "George won't do this song with me, but I know it's going to be a hit." Corinne worked her magic, and a week later, Deniece and George were in the studio recording "Let's Hear It for the Boy." The song became a massive hit, selling millions of copies and cementing Deniece's place in pop music history. The title track became a massive hit, reaching number 1 on several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. This song was also part of the movie Footloose, making it even more more popular. Even though George still jokes that he doesn't like the song, Deniece has no regrets. She often tells people, if you don't like it, send me your producer check. The success of Let's Hear It for the Boy brought her a lot of joy, and she's proud of it. Deniece released her album called Deniece. This album was a big success, hitting number 5 on the top soul albums chart and number 20 on the Billboard 200. Robert Christgau from The Village Voice praised Deniece for her clear voice and range, noting how her collaboration with Tom Bell helped her music stand out. The album's charm lay in its romantic lyrics and the emotional delivery Deniece provided. One of her notable singles from this time was a cover of It's Gonna Take a Miracle.
Now that you set me free, it's gonna take a miracle.
This song topped the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart and reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Deniece released her 7th studio album called I'm So Proud. It reached number 10 on the Billboard Top R&B Albums chart. Connie Johnson from the Los Angeles Times described it as fresh and of high quality. This album was even nominated for a Grammy.
Amazing.
Over the years, Deniece was nominated 13 times for Grammy Awards, and she won 4 times. The special moment for Deniece was performing Silly at the BET Awards with singer Monica. Monica had recorded her version of Silly, produced by Missy Elliott. When Deniece first heard the cover, she was thrilled. She loved how Monica and Missy had brought new life to her song. During the BET Awards, Monica performed her version of Silly, and then Deniece came out and sang the original. It was an incredible experience for her to perform her classic song alongside a new generation of talent. Over the years, she has moved from one genre to another, mixing gospel, pop, R&B, and jazz to create a unique sound. After a break of 10 years, Deniece found herself back in the studio, and she calls it a God thing. During an interview with a source, she shared about how she was in Los Angeles with her son Kevin, who had a meeting with a producer named Neil Gatos. Deniece didn't expect anything special that day. She just sat in the corner while her son and the producer talked. But then, Neil came over to her and said, "Miss Williams, I love your music and voice." He had some tracks he wanted her to listen to. At first, the music didn't grab her, but when the second track played, a thought popped into her head. When you love somebody, life is like a party, and you dance. Neil loved that line, and soon they started working on the song together. She gave him some lyrics, and he put together a demo of the song. Deniece wasn't thinking much about it after that, but a month later, she played the song for some friends and their kids. To her surprise, the kids started dancing and singing along. They really liked it, which made Deniece realize the song had potential. She called Neil and told him about the kids' reaction, and that's when things started rolling. Neil had connections in the music industry, and soon they were making plans to release the song. Now she's working on a new project that includes jazz, pop, R&B, and gospel music, which she says will give fans a full view of who she is as an artist. The project will be called Gemini. Deniece also talked about how blessed she feels in life, despite the challenges she has faced. She knows people who are no longer here, and she feels grateful for what she has. She said that when she starts feeling down, she reminds herself of her blessings, her health, a home, food, a car. She believes that focusing on what's good in your life can help push away depression. There's always someone who has it worse than you, she said, and that's what keeps her grounded. She quoted a verse that helps her. "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." She believes it's important to make a decision to be thankful, even when things aren't perfect. She trusts that everything happening in her life is allowed by God, and if she keeps a positive attitude, things can turn around. On June 30th, 2021, she was honored as one of the first ever inductees into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame. Williams was, on May 16th, 2023, also bestowed with the keys to the city of Kingston, Jamaica.
BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow. It's pretty great.
It is great.
Recently, Deniece hasn't been in the spotlight as much, but her influence is still strong in the music world. Younger artists still look up to her and cover her songs. In her life now, Deniece keeps things peaceful and enjoys spending time with family and friends. She's also very active in her church and believes in giving back to her community. Her faith has always been a big part of her life and inspires her music and daily actions. Fans still celebrate her work, and her songs are often played on the radio, in movies, and at parties. Deniece's legacy is one of love, joy, and inspiration. Even if she's not performing as much, her music will keep her spirit alive for many generations.